Hey there, folks. Welcome back to Civ Fanatics Ultimate Strategy Guide for Prince level players. In this episode, we're going to talk about a few different things. Most of them are going to be concerning city management. Uh, we're going to talk about build orders. We're going to talk about uh, food versus production, what text to choose early, what social policies to choose. Um, if you'll notice here, I've got a scout. I got my original warrior. Up here, I got another scout. In almost every situation, I do recommend building two scouts first. And the reason why you do that is simply because you want to open up the map in your immediate surroundings. Once I've scouted, the surroundings, most often I'll bring my scouts and my warrior back to the city, unless I'm playing in a game with no barbarians, because I don't want to lose workers or settlers to barbarians. So as soon as I'm familiar with the land surrounding my territory, I just bring everything back. That way I have military units to protect, even though scouts aren't the best for this. But I want my workers protected, I want my settlers protected. If I can afford it, which I can in this game, I would also, maybe buy another warrior. Uh, After I research construction, I'll research archery so that I can, buy or build an archer. Uh, and so, what we need to do now that we have some workers available is kind of assess our city itself. So, this is usually a fairly easy process. So, I'm looking at food tiles versus production tiles. Now, in an ideal situation, I would want at least 3 or 4 hills surrounding my capital, but I'm never going to abandon an area in the opening, unless I'm just going to, if I'm playing against AIs, I might hit restart if my area is too bad. But if I'm in a live game, I want to play it regardless. Uh, So, I just take whatever the computer gives me and, try to make the best of it. But in this situation, I'm pretty well balanced between food tiles versus production tiles. So, uh, I'm never going to chop, in this situation right here, I would never chop my forest tiles because they are the only production tiles I have. And I do have uh, a fair number of food tiles. So, one of the things that I would consider if I was completely surrounded by hills and or forest, then I would chop forest tiles to make farms, or I would pursue hanging gardens as early as I could. And by pursuing hanging gardens gives you 10 food, right there. Gives you 10 food, which is amazing. But I don't always automatically pursue hanging gardens. In this case, in a real game, I would not worry about it because I have enough food tiles. If anything, I'm just going to focus on building production. I'll get a few food tiles done, and then, by the time construction is done, I'm going to focus on building some lumber mills. Technologies, I'm always going to assess my surrounding area and decide which technologies to pursue based on what's surrounding me. If I don't have any hill tiles, I'm not going to research mining, and I would never pursue, you know, mining masonry pyramids if I don't have production tiles surrounding me anyway. Um, the next thing on the list is, you just want to be, in every game you play, you want to be flexible. You want to base your decisions on, like, if you build a scout right away, and that's your first build, you get your warrior to start searching around, and the first thing you see is, another capital from another civilization 7 or 8 tiles away from you. Instead of building a worker, I would immediately build a settler, because I have an immediate threat, a competing civilization that's going to also want good luxury tiles, and if he builds a settler and establishes a city before me, it may be in the one place that I really, really wanted a city. So, in this case, I built three workers because I know that there's nothing around me, but that was because there's nothing around me. Normally I'll go scout, worker, settler, and then maybe another worker, and then another settler, depending on how rampant the barbarians are behaving, how many cities are surrounding me. The last thing that we want to talk about in this video is what social policies to adopt early. In 95% of the games, you're going to want to choose tradition, and I think that this is even in Brave New World, or Gods and Kings. I think it's still that rule still applies. Honor, I don't know. The difference between tradition and liberty is, tradition is like a fat man going into a buffet. He pretty much eats everything, and your city behaves the same way. It grows, it expands, the borders expand because of this extra 10% growth of 2 food in the capital, because of the culture you get by adopting it in your capital, because of the 15% growth and plus 2 in each city when you close out tradition. Your cities will expand much faster, and your citizen growth will happen much faster. So with liberty, to be honest with you, I think liberty is flawed for human players. AIs can do wonderful with liberty. If you could choose liberty and be able to build 10 cities very fast, I think liberty would be better. Or liberty would be a better option, and it wouldn't be 95% always tradition and 5% of the time choose liberty. I've never personally been able to adopt liberty and build 10 cities within the first 100 turns. I get stuck at 5. Well, I can do 5 with tradition. And I really do like these, especially this one, and when you close out tradition, that extra 15% growth and 2% in each city. I think that these 2 policies make you very competitive in the game, and you don't get the exact same thing with liberty. Now, in this version of Civilization, what I usually do is tradition and then liberty. So I do kind of, and I don't always go all the way through the liberty tree, depending on what the situation. If I find myself midway through the game and I'm behind in science, uh, I'll abandon liberty and start going rationalism. Uh, but I do want, in the beginning, I definitely want this one here, citizenship, tile improvement construction rate increased by 25%. I definitely want that. And I definitely want this one, happiness, +1 happiness for each city you own. And if I can get it, I do want this one, and I do like adopting all policies in the Liberty Tree will grant a free great person of your choice near the Capitol. So, if I can close out Liberty, I do it. But, again, I play each game, I make decisions based on, what the situation is. With that being said, I'm going to close this video out. The next video is going to be on the Wonder Race. It early to mid-game classical medieval era. I do start considering which wonders that I want to go for. And I start planning for, because I don't think you should ever pick a wonder randomly. So I'll talk about how to plan for and maximize your chances for getting wonders. Alright, thanks for watching. Smash that like button, and I look forward to talking to you in the next video.